Welcome to Conversations, Cocktails, and Connections. I'm Amy Hester.
I'm Emily Reeves. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. I was kind of like, I probably shouldn't have said, hey, Emily, and then went right into it. But, hey, here we are.
It's only our, 50-something episodes. We're going to get the hang of this eventually.
It does come out, the name comes out a lot better than it used to.
Yeah.
Sometimes I would always start with cocktails.
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna really mess myself up, so I better shut up. What are we drinking tonight?
All right, so tonight I thought we would make a classic Negroni. This was one that was recommended to us from our guest, Spencer Jansen. And he actually recommended that we make a Negroni for one episode and then a Boulevardier for the other because they're very similar. You just change out the alcohols. So tonight we're going to make the Negroni, which is a classic cocktail.
Yeah.
So
I, again, have never had one.
I know. Well, I
love this so much. I mean, we learned so much, and thank you, Spencer, for suggesting it.
We try to keep it special and different around here.
And I will say, I did actually this weekend updated my membership to the Arkansas Arts Center.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah.
All right, so we are going to do an ounce of gin per serving. So we've got 2 ounces of gin. I got a brand new bottle.
That's a big old bottle.
I should remember that my little hands can't hold these big bottles. I need to buy the smaller bottles. I was just trying
That's
to.
where your assistant can help.
That's true. That's true.
I have long fingers.
I was just trying to minimize runs to the liquor store, try to be efficient.
And the bottle is super pretty.
Sweet vermouth. So we're going to do an ounce per serving of sweet vermouth. So 2 ounces of that. Okay. This is another thing that we bought that my husband was like, that'll last us the rest of our lives. And
it's halfway gone.
It's halfway gone. But that's because we make cocktails.
We're professionals.
We're professionals. And then it is 2 ounces of Campari. So it's, or 1 ounce of Campari. So we're going to do 2. So basically it's equal parts gin, sweet vermouth, and Campari.
Nice.
All right, so we're going to stir it up, and then and we're going to pour it over our ice. And the recipe says that we can add soda water to the top, so I got our soda water out in case we wanted to do that.
Okay.
And then we've got lemon peel for our garnish, and I thought maybe we'd rim the edge, kind of like what we did, what we learned at 42.
Yes.
So look at us applying our knowledge.
Love it.
We're trying around here.
At least it's not a soda bottle that is will explode
Well, now listen, we're not done with the drink yet, so
That's true. Jinx us.
Don't jinx us. And we're using our big ice cubes.
My mouth is watering. It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
Not here.
Not here.
All right, so I'm going to do the little, express the juices over the oils, and then rim and drop, and then
it's also so pretty to have just that yellow contrast the color in there.
So what do you think? Should we put a little soda on top, or
Sure.
should we taste it first? Let's do a little soda on top.
Okay. What's funny is that I told you that my mom, I was talking to her not long ago, and she said, I can tell when you don't like something that your lip does move a little bit. And so now even just then I was thinking, I think my lip was quivering just a tiny bit. Yum. Cheers.
Cheers.
What is this called again?
The classic Negroni. Okay, here's the deal. I don't think we like Campari.
No.
I think we've officially decided. We've had several drinks with it, and I don't think either one of us like it. I'm going to try a little bit more soda water on top. See if you may try that with you.
I think that's exactly what it's. When you were pouring it, I didn't want to say, "Is this the one?"
That helps.
Yeah.
Maybe do you want me to add some gin?
No.
Okay. I think it's this. I think we don't like this, which is a shame because it's in a lot of drinks.
I wonder if it's just.
It's bitter. It's bitter.
Mm-hmm. I can't put my finger on it though. Anyway.
All right. Well, bodes well for our future cocktail making.
I'm glad we both don't like it. So maybe we won't. Maybe if something calls for a tiny bit of it, it'll be different.
Yeah. I definitely think the soda water cuts it.
Yeah.
That helped a lot for me.
Yeah.
All right. Well, who are we talking to tonight?
So we are speaking with Chris Kent.
Mm-hmm.
He knows all things Argenta in North Little Rock. He is so in it, and they have done such a good job with all of the outdoor dining through COVID. So I'm really anxious to see how they did it.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of places are really wanting to kind of copy them, to figure out how they're doing it so well.
Yeah, and the weather just now is starting to cool off here in Arkansas, so you see, like, people, it's easier to eat outside now too, so you'll probably see a lot more of that. Well, let's talk to him.
Okay.
All right.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Hi, Chris.
Hey.
Hello.
How are you?
Well, thank you.
Chris, this is Emily.
Hey, Chris.
Hey, Emily, nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
Welcome to Conversations, Cocktails, and Connections.
This is cool.
Yeah.
That's so social.
Right? So I know you're not a big drinker, so are you drinking a mocktail or having any kind of...
I have a honey cinnamon latte. One of the first things I did when the pandemic hit was I invested in a nice Breville espresso maker. So it has been like my lifeblood since we got it. So
That's really cool.
Your go-to.
That's a great idea.
Well, we made one cocktail that we didn't love, so we have now moved to wine.
Yep.
what's the cocktail that you didn't love?
It is the Negroni, and we have decided that we are not fans of Campari.
Yeah, it's that is a real specialty cocktail. And, if you read like Hemingway, they'll drink like a Negroni and Campari. And it definitely has an odd flavor to it, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm not cool enough.
I guess we aren't either, but we've had it with another drink before, and I think we've now decided that it's the Campari that we don't like.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
we might just like X that.
Live and learn.
I know.
That's right.
So Chris, I'm so happy to have you on, and I want you to tell everybody what you do in Argenta.
Okay, I am the executive director of the Argenta Downtown Council, which is a group that was started by some businesses in Argenta about 10 years ago to provide originally a clean, green, and safe space for people to hang out. So I manage the employees that take care of all the flowers. And we put on different events when there's not a pandemic, and just basically promote the downtown businesses in hopes that they'll all be successful.
Well, and let me just say one thing: when you talk about the flowers, it's not just like, the amount of flowers and upkeep that happens on Main Street in Argenta is insane. Like, they have the tulips. Like, how many tulips goes into the tulip planting?
Well, we're getting ready to do the tulip planting on November 8th, and this year we're jumping up to 17,000 tulips.
Oh my gosh.
I know, right? We did 14,000 last year, and they probably looked the best ever, but we had no people downtown in March and April. So it was kind of wasted on that, but we also do, I think it's 100 flats of pansies that go in as well with those.
Welcome to the soundtrack of 2020, Dogs in the Background of Zoom.
So we have, we do like 100 flats of pansies that go out as well with those tulips, and they'll all come up in the spring, and it's just beautiful. We work with Chris Olson. He helps us pick out the colors of what we're going to do for the year, and he has his finger on the pulse of what the hot new colors are for plants.
Oh, wow. Well,
so we're lucky to have him.
People go down there from all over just to get like their kids' photos taken by all the flowers. It's insane. It's so pretty.
So
go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, can you tell us what the colors are, or is that supposed to be a surprise when they bloom?
Well, it's and you guys will like this, especially with the name of your podcast. It's the Tequila Sunrise Mix.
Nice.
So they have a variety of colors that come with the tulips, and they pop up at different times too. So we get a little bit more life out of the time span that they're out there. And then we do a baby boy pansy, which is a blue pansy, and then we're also going to mix in a yellow blotch pansy this year as well. But so if you go downtown right now, we still have, we put out 65 hanging baskets too with petunias, and there's still going full force.
That's awesome.
It is amazing that it's this late in October and we've got this many flowers still out.
So how do you get the it's all volunteers too, a lot of volunteers for planting, right? Because y'all make a big day of it.
Yeah, we have in the past, every year we've done a tulip planting day that is followed by a big party that goes on for hours and hours if you've ever been to it. But this year, we're going to have to, we're trying to figure out exactly how to do it where it'll still have the same amount of fun, but without cramming everybody into a tiny place, all together for a party.
So I don't know if Emily, I'm pretty sure you were there, but one year I had a dirty Santa, or no, actually we picked up Mel from this tulip planting, and she was so hammered that I have never even before seen her that hammered ever from the tulip planting. And I think it was just all day of like socializing and it just like, she had so much fun, but it was funny for me because I picked her up. And we were supposed to go to a party afterwards. And I mean, she still went, but we were like, okay, you need some coffee before we start this.
Yeah, that's for sure.
That's awesome.
And, we used to do it the same day as the North Little Rock Christmas Parade, which was the first weekend in December. But after talking to Chris Olson about it, he was like, you'll just get so much more life out of your plants if you would start a month earlier. So we shifted it. It didn't stop the amount of all day drinking that went on. It just made it a lot less visible.
Oh my gosh. Well, so since COVID has hit, tell us about all the things, because I know just from you and I talking that you guys have done so much downtown and it's working so well. So how did you guys come up with the plan and execute such a good system?
Well, when COVID hit, it was really, difficult for me because my role is to bring people downtown and bring was always bring as many people as we could get downtown as possible. And then it became, well, we don't know if we can have anybody downtown at all. And then it was like, can you bring some people downtown safely? So the first thing that we did was we doubled down with our crew on making sure it looked nice downtown. So we made sure that the plants were extra special this year, that everything was really clean, and that it'd be ready for business when business opened back up. So we had at the beginning of the pandemic, when the restaurants were forced to close, some stayed open with curbside pickup. And one of those places was Flyway. And when Flyway Brewing decided that they were going to open back up and the governor said it was okay, they only allowed you to open at 33%. So they couldn't figure out how to make any money at 33% because if you've ever been in the restaurant business, you lose money at 33%. You lose money pretty much at 66% too. So we worked with them on helping them create their tent city. So we donated our tents, tables, and chairs for them to set that up. And it was so successful their first weekend that they went from about 10 tents to 18 as quickly as they could. So they just decided not to open back up inside for months. And then when we had been working on getting the entertainment district passed in Argenta for the last year, we could carry a drink out of a restaurant and walk down the street and see what's going on. So that was the first step, was getting that in place. And then we got the other restaurants together, started a small restaurant group, which was probably the hardest part of the whole thing, was getting everybody on the same page and trusting one another that working together would allow them to make more money.
So you're saying that because instead of seeing each other as competition, how you can all work together.
Exactly.
Is that what you mean? Okay.
Exactly. It was, because by their nature, it's just a dog eat dog world out there in the restaurant world. And, I think we realized when we started working together as a group that the restaurants had more power collectively than they did individually. So when they needed something from the city, they could speak with one voice and they could get that. So we, I met with the mayor and we worked with the North Little Rock Convention Visitors Bureau with Bob Major, who has just announced his retirement. But one of his last things he did was helped us get this going. So we closed 2 blocks of Main Street, and they allowed us to put tents and tables and chairs outside so that the businesses could set up and run their businesses outside in the street, pretty much.
So amazing.
That's great. And so they're still doing that.
We are still doing it. We started off the first weekend, which was the weekend of August 8th, and we had about 20 tents on the street in front of Brood and Barley and Four Quarter. And then the next weekend, we added the other block, which was Cregan's, Reno's, Crush, Skinny J's, and Nana's Organics right there. And then Restaurant Capello decided they wanted to come on board too. They couldn't see how they would fit at first, but they brought out pizza and gelato, and then they created an online ordering app where you can order anything off the menu at Capello now and eat it outside. So 2 weeks ago, we had 102 tents and tables set up outside.
Serious?
So it's crazy. We had 18 at Flyway plus all the ones in the street. And then we did a concert in a parking lot next door to the library, which was kind of a VIP area. So we set it up every Friday night and we break it down every Saturday night. So it's like we set up a full festival.
Yeah.
Like that's got to be a big job in itself.
It's a big job.
Oh my
It's a
gosh.
big job for sure.
Wow.
But have the restaurants been pleased with the turnout and sales, and has it helped them?
It has helped them. And, you know, I saw the first round of numbers from the tax from the North Little Rock A&P, just for our downtown businesses. They had surpassed their 2018 sales for August collectively, and then were just shy of their 2019 sales, which was really, really cool considering that they were, you know, some of them had just opened back up. And so they've all been really, really happy with what they've been able to accomplish on their sales, but also, you know, keeping themselves relevant in a time where it's hard to stay relevant.
Well, don't you feel like have some of them really worked hard to up their game on other things that they probably were not pushing? Like maybe a bar wasn't doing as much food and now they're doing more food.
Yeah, for sure. Well, you know, I think one of the best examples is Four Quarter Bar. And if you guys, you may have been in there before.
We love Conan.
Yeah. But you know, that Four Quarter is, you know, drinks and music, really.
Yeah.
And the food is kind of, you know, it's there for you, but, you know, Conan didn't really push that hard. But when we moved outside, he really did. So one of the first things he did was he put a ramen station outside. So they were cooking pork belly ramen on the street. And I think the first weekend he sold 70 ramen bowls.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I know, right? And he tripled his food sales on that. So he really had to shift his business with that. And then you've seen the people that do specials, like Restaurant Capello has recently added a New England clam chowder that they have. Crush Wine Bar has done lobster rolls.
Yeah.
You've seen all the restaurants do something different. Reno's has had crawfish etouffee. Brood and Barley did a poke bowl with tuna one night. And it's funny because Brood and Barley is buying all this food from Four Quarter for their staff. And then Four Quarter's buying all this food from Brood and Barley. And it's just interesting seeing them do that.
I'm getting hungry.
I know. So do you guys have a collective type Instagram or website that you can see all of the things that people are specializing in right now? Or do you have to go particular to that business?
Well, we've tried to run everything through the Argenta Arts District social media pages through Instagram and Facebook, and then try to tag one another and keep up with it that way. But we've also created a Argenta Outdoor Dining District landing page on our website. So you can get some of it there, but everything just changes. I mean, it's like we'll start on something and we'll have to change and then change again and then change again because you just don't know. And just don't know what's going to happen with anything. So like this weekend, we created the Argenta Cheese Dip Cha-Cha, which was a small event that started off as how can we do specials and get people to come down for our special. So it was like, well, let's do a cheese dip special, which became, well, if we're going to do a cheese dip special, let's call it a cheese dip contest.
Yeah.
Those, 8 restaurants downtown all had cheese dip. And then we sold the tickets on Eventbrite. And then as we led up to the event, it's like, well, what do we do about day of ticket sales? We're like, oh, we'll just do cash and swipe and whatever. And then it's like, wait a minute. We probably don't need to handle cash. We probably don't need to be handling hardly anything. So at the last minute, we kind of decided we'll just let Eventbrite continue to handle the ticketing. But it's like, you think you got it figured out, and then you have to pivot very
Sure.
quickly to do something else.
How did it go? Did you guys have a big turnout, or?
It was awesome. You know, we just really wanted to find a way to bring people down at different times of the day, because we
Yeah.
get really busy at night. But you know, at noon we hadn't been super busy, so we limited it to 250 tickets, and we sold all of them. They were only $10 a piece,
Amazing.
and it was over, you know, it was over 3 blocks. So you
Yeah.
had 2 blocks on Main Street and then 1 block on 4th Street going to Flyway. So everybody was spread out real nice, and we have 500 seats outside. So we didn't have people bottlenecking up on one another. We
Right.
didn't have a lot of closeness with everybody. So it turned out great. Everybody seemed to have a really nice time. There are a lot of kids, lots of families. So it's nice that we could do that.
I think the key word like for 2020 is pivot. You
Yeah.
know, it's like just always like being ready to move to the next thing or change just a little bit to make it work each day at this point.
Well, and I think Argenta is, if you've never been there, it is so charming. It's a historic district of North Little Rock. The buildings are all just really cool looking. So you already have that atmosphere of just being downtown, and the fact that you can be in the street makes it even cooler. Like it's almost like you're in a festival every weekend.
Well, it's funny how you said that too, because the first weekend we set up, Brood and Barley had their tent set up outside, and they had it, you know, like they had specialty cocktails, lemonades right there in their tent, and it was really cool and pretty. And then next to it, Four Quarter was set up, and Conan, who is has attended numerous festivals over the years, was just like, my place looks terrible. I've got to do something about this. So he's like, I'm the place that you're scared of at the festival. It's got to be inviting. So he built this really cool bar that rolls out, and he's got all this lighting on it now.
Oh, awesome.
Everybody kind of takes pride in how they're decorating the front of their
little curb appeal.
With some curb appeal. And then, you know, the same thing with Capeo. They had their tables set up and everything. And then Brian and Eric's mom sewed up some new tablecloths and stuff. And so they've got like these little Italian things set up. So you feel like you're at a little Italian cafe right there. So it just is, it's like the Argenta food court is what it is, because you can grab one thing at Capeo, and you can grab something at Brood and Barley. You can grab something at Reno's or Cregan's, and you're seeing all these different foods on the table at the same time. So it's really kind of neat that you get that choice.
My question is, okay, so it's amazing that all the restaurants and bars are this is so awesome for them. But how does it work with the staff? You know, because, you know, in this working in restaurants before, I mean, you know, if you're working in a restaurant at 100%, you're doing good. But then when you start knocking it down, like, how does a waiter like make what they need in this pandemic? I feel so bad for waiters and waitresses, although I think people are a little bit more generous, don't you, right now?
I know that I am, and I see a lot of other people that are. If I'm going to get takeout, I'm tipping 25% on it, and hoping that they're spreading that money out amongst their people, because they're in a real jam, and they're not getting the help in that industry from the federal government that a lot of other businesses are getting. And it's really unfortunate and unfair that it's that way, because it's like they want you to be open because they want you to make money and keep the government going, but then they don't want to help you the same way they want to help a lot of other people. Right. So there, I think there's a lot of tip sharing going on now with people, because a lot of the work that they're doing, we're not going to. So when you order your food, they give you a ticket, and you hang it on your tent. Okay. And it'll say like Brood and Barley number 4. So there's no assigned tents for anybody. You can sit anywhere you want, and then they'll bring the food to you, and that's it. That's the end of the interaction with your server until you come back up and order again. But they are coming out, and they're sanitizing tables when people get up. They're picking up trash. They're doing things like that. So I think they're all having to work together and then share their tips within each individual business.
Sure. Well, and I think a lot of times people not knowing businesses are still doing the extra sanitizing. I think you'll see a lot of people bringing their own stuff too. So it's just like extra clean. But I think that it's really cool that you guys are able to do this. And luckily the weather's been really cool and nice. And so what is the plan for
if there is a plan, or is it day by day? Yeah.
It's we've been so fortunate with the weather, and I mean, if you go all the way back to when Flyway started this, they have had very little. We had very little rain, like during the day. It was mostly in the middle of the night, and since will be our 12th week, we had one weekend where we had 2 weeks ago where we had a little more rain than normal, which kind of put a damper on things. So we've been lucky with that, and we're trying to figure out how to handle the winter. And we've done a lot of reading about places that are doing this, but we're not Boston, we're not Chicago, so we're Arkansas.
We're pretty mild. I mean,
we're pretty mild, and if it's like it was last year, then we should be in pretty good shape, because everybody's saying you should get heaters, and I'm like, we have 102 tables. I don't know where we would store all these heaters, and then we've had some people suggest you need to put fire pits all up and down the street, and I'm just like, oh my god.
Well, yeah,
liability.
You and I talked about that too, because I was like, well, that's just going to have people congregating to try to get warm.
Exactly.
So it's like,
and then the maintenance.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Right, and then picking it up. What do you do with the coals and stuff like that? Because we are in the street.
I mean, I think if you have to realize, like, okay, well, are you going to be in a pandemic at home inside, or do you want to go outside no matter what the temperature is? So, I mean, I feel like we're going to want to go outside and stay outside.
We hardly get to wear our cute winter clothes, anywhere. So this gives you that opportunity to go out and put on that scarf that you love so much.
Or all the ski stuff that you bought for that one ski trip last year.
Right, exactly. Exactly.
Can actually utilize it. Well, so how do you handle the fact, so in a festival aspect, there's usually people that will try to come around and they'll do like try to bring in their own booze or bring in their own stuff. How do you stop that from happening? Because that's defeating the purpose.
Well, we've had that happen. We do every Friday and Saturday night, we do live music, two different ways. We have a band that four-quarter books that goes on the steps of the Argenta branch of the Lehman Library. And then down at the opposite end, Cregan's books, usually a singer-songwriter type person for that block. And I'm trying to think, we had somebody a few weeks ago come in that was Trey Johnson. So popular. People were showing up with like their lawn chairs. They brought coolers, and I'm just like, it cannot be like this.
Yeah.
So we had to like get more signage, more rules, and then in addition to our people that do the plantings, we have our safety ambassadors downtown, and some of you guys might know Spriggs. Cool. He rides around in the golf cart, gives people rides around, and then Harold. They're both down there to kind of keep an eye on that. And now the city has issued a police officer to work downtown on Friday and Saturday nights as well. So we just try to keep an eye on people. And for the most part, everybody does a great job, but there are some people that are going to try to break the rules.
Oh, sure.
No matter what,
Well, so. I will say that when you say security, what'd you say? Security ambassadors?
Our safety ambassadors.
Safety. Okay. So even pre-COVID, I'm talking like Argenta all the time has safety ambassadors that have a golf cart, that if you need to walk to your car, they will walk you to your car. It is all about feeling safe in the area, which is it's really cool.
That's really important.
Yeah.
And if I were, we've got, this is somewhat political, but as people use terminology like defund the police, and I think it's the wrong way to talk about it. I think everybody would be well served if police departments had another layer down of safety ambassador type people that are working, that can be kind of eyes and ears and be concierge to the citizens.
I thought about that.
And then if they need somebody more than that, then they could reach out to a police officer. And that's kind of the way we've done it down there forever.
That's awesome.
It works real well.
That's so good. So what is coming up? That do y'all have anything big coming up? Because they have a new pavilion within, like, when was that finished?
The Argenta Plaza?
Yeah, the plaza.
Well, it it's been one of the longest projects to ever take place for building a flat piece of ground. But last week on Thursday, the chamber, there was a grand opening for the actual plaza itself.
that's cool.
And they had finished, they were going to build another building right next to it. And with all the stuff that happened, the owners of the property decided to wait. So they've sodded that all in to the north of the plaza. So we've got this nice green space now attached to it.
Yeah.
So it's really pretty. It's really nice. It's a great place to come and be able to hang out. You can pick up your food and drinks and go there too, which is.
And if you're an Instagrammer, it's a great place to go get your picture taken.
It is, because they've got these three lights that shine out too, that are 3 different colors. So when you get your shadow, it's like you see yourself in red, green, and blue out there, all mixed together.
Awesome.
It's really pretty
That's
neat.
so great.
And then we're working on our next Cha-Cha event, which is the Argenta Chili Cha-Cha, which is we're working on for November the 7th. And we'll, that's our date right now, but we're meeting with the restaurants tomorrow to finalize that.
That's so great.
On that. So that should be a lot of fun.
So some good things on the horizon for sure.
Yeah, I think so. And hopefully once we get past all this COVID stuff, we can go back to 100% inside.
Yeah.
And then instead of having a few hundred people outside, maybe we can have 1,000 people outside and keep this going.
Yeah. So it's just like expanded the offerings. It's, it's limited right now, but it'll ultimately expand the offerings, which is a really cool thing.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, so tell everybody how to find you socially, or how to get you all information for Argenta. Tell all the things.
Probably the best way to track us is on our Facebook page, which is the Argenta Arts District, and you can just type it in like that, and it'll pull up. And our website is argentaartdistrict.org. And there's a landing page there for the outdoor dining district, and then there's Instagram as well. And you can just kind of type it in and get it the same way too. But that we try to keep all our information as relevant as possible there.
Awesome.
Very cool.
Oh my gosh, that's so exciting. I'm happy for you and all the work that you guys are doing.
Well, thanks. I appreciate it. Yeah, it's
Awesome.
it's a labor of love for sure.
Yeah.
Like I was telling you the other day, it's we're in week 11, and it's 7 days a week now. I mean, it went from sitting around going, I don't have anything to do, they're not going to need me anymore, to I don't have any time. But it's worth it. It's really worth it, because the restaurants have done well, and that's the most important thing.
Well, and I think it's bringing people that probably had not really been down there to see because honestly, there's a lot going on. And there's not a lot going on in town. So if somebody had not been used to going to Argenta, they know about it now, which is really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we've had a lot of people come through, a lot of older people that I'll see them walking and looking a little, like, what do we do here? And I'll explain to them what happens, how they go up and they order the food and sit down there like, we have not been outside. We have not done anything in 6 months. This is so amazing that we can sit here. And you'll see, what's really cute is you'll see like an older couple at one end of a 6-foot table, and then a younger couple at the other end. So that they're like the son and daughter-in-law sitting there, and they're 6 feet apart, and they're able to go out together and have a drink, have a meal.
That's awesome.
That's special.
And it really, really is cool to see people be able to get out and feel like it's going to be okay to be around people.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for being on.
It's amazing.
Yep, thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed it. This was a lot of fun.
I know, I'm so excited. I can't wait. Everybody needs to go to Argenta.
Yeah, check it out.
Okay. Cheers.
Right.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Cheers.
you. Appreciate
Bye,
it.
Chris.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.